All right, let's take two on this. Okay. Don't know what happened. I moved my computer, camera, and then everything blacked out. It's still showing that my other live is running and I can't seem to stop it. So if anyone is able to watch this, please let me know. Because I'm going to check in here on YouTube and just see how this is coming along. Because right now this is streaming through StreamYard, as you can see. Okay, so I see. This is just so strange. The other live is still running and no one can see it. So for people who are watching this, you see me. Thank you, Gerald. I don't know what happened. I moved the camera. Once it went live, it went black. I couldn't end it, so it's freezing. Anyhow, everyone watch this one. Don't watch the other one, which I think will eventually just peter out. Okay, let's just fast forward. Happy Imbolc. Let's just get right to it. Happy Imbolc. A few days early, Imbolc takes place on February 1st, which is on a Tuesday. And actually, the previous sabbats, one or two sabbats, have actually fallen on a weekday. So I've had to do my sabbats on a Sunday. Say hello? Want to say hello? So with that being said, this particular Sabbat is from right, Lady Capera. I didn't have that kind of break. I had a technical break. So exhale. So this particular Imbolc, I titled it for this year. It welcomes in light. This is the first light of the winter, because we're still midwinter. But I want to focus more on the energy of light when it comes to healing. It's something very simple. So my altar, if you will, my living room altar where I do all my live sabbats, is very simple. I have this set up here for Tuesday when I do my personal ritual. So I have all white candles. But here, I'm going to show you very carefully. Oops. I have a gold candle. Because this particular winter, so far, as quite a few of you know, was very hard on me. And I'm very fond of the sun right now. So this is a gold candle, which you normally burn during Yule to welcome in the beginning of more sunlight. But this candle in particular is more potent for me because of how this past start of the winter and year has been. Watch the light there, Spirit. So I'm using this gold light for this healing property. Oh, your son's birthday is on Imbolc. Well, the day after Imbolc. Oh, excellent. Well, hopefully the two of you will do something. So, and I have a yellow candle here just to kind of increase my energy for my spiritual practice, which has taken a bit of a back seat since I was under the weather for a while. So I'm feeling stronger, and that's my focus for Imbolc. It's a greater Sabbat in regards to it's a cross-quarter Sabbat that it's coming right in between seasons. So our cross-quarter Sabbats are Imbolc, which is our first one for the Wheel of the Year. Or it's our second one. Samhain is our first. If you want to start from the new year, our second one is Imbolc. Then we have our spring equinox, which is our lesser Sabbat. The lesser Sabbats fall during our seasonal changes. So all the equinoxes, autumn and spring, are lesser sabbats. Summer solstice and winter solstice, those are our lesser sabbats. And you would think it'd be the other way around because the changing of the seasons are seen to be more important, but in the wheel of the year, they're considered to be the lesser sabbats. They still hold power, it's just their placement. The greater sabbats, as I mentioned, Samhain, Beltane, Imbolc, Lunisad, and then back to Samhain. So we have 4 lesser sabbats and 4 greater sabbats. So when I first started this live, I had quite a bit of sunlight coming in, and when I went to turn my computer around so you could see the sunlight, crone energy came in and just closed it off. So my camera went off. So I'm not going to be moving this camera, but I have this here. It feels good. It feels nice. It feels comforting. It's falling in line with this energy of light coming in. And then, of course, when we get to Ostara, our spring equinox, will take place, I believe it's March 20th this year, where we'll see quite a bit more sunlight. So my focus is on the properties of healing. My last name, Candela, which is part of my last name, means light. And so the use of my name, because of it being the name that was given to me, I totally hold great respect for, because it means light, celebration of light, embracing fire, which I fully respect and hold great regard for. But also, Imbolc, we're still in transition. We're easing out of winter. Like I said, we're midwinter, and we're getting ready in about 6 weeks when we start moving into the spring season. So this is the time that we start slowly increasing this energy of moving towards the spring. You want to come up here? There we go. And we start, I hope he doesn't turn around, and we start focusing on inner empowerment of our spirituality, of our health, of our goals. So as I've mentioned in previous Sabbats, this isn't a time that we start jumping right into making things active. We're still in that transitional period. This is a bridge. This is a bridge between our winter season and our spring season. So we still have to ease into it. We're still very much in the crone stage, okay? But that energy is waning as our light's increasing. So the crone energy is still there, not as potent, but if you still want to do work with the crone, that energy is there. You just utilize that force in a different way. I feel the crone energy spoke volumes to me. And I'm very, very much aware of how things have been in the last year or in the last month for me. So it's nothing to laugh about. It's nothing to spirit. It is nothing to, he's doing some spring cleaning. It's nothing to, close your eyes and look away. It's a clear sign for making all these changes. So I'd like to know, for those who are watching right now, how is Imbolc? How is this time of the year working for you? Okay, we're working with the properties of fire and water, and I put a link in my description for this episode to Mickey Mueller. She did an Imbolc video last year, which I thought was wonderful. And I put a link to it last year in the video that I did. And I included it this year because the properties of fire and water, they work hand in hand. And also, we're in Aquarius. So I have two books here that I want to read some excerpts from that really give a wonderful explanation of these energies, especially with Aquarius. One of the paragraphs that I read was this time of the year is the evolution of the soul associated with Aquarius. And that makes sense, because we are moving out of this period and we're changing. Okay, we're still in transition. Remember what I was saying? We are in a bridge of energy right now. So our soul is moving. Our soul is shape-shifting in many different ways. And we need to go with it. Can't fight it. We have to go with these changes. I still feel like I'm doing some shadow work at this time, but there's more light that is coming in through Imbolc. There's more of awareness. There's more of that awakening that's putting a more of a clear direction of where I need to be. So Imbolc for me is very important. For many, it is this first day of spring, but I don't see it so much as the first day of spring. I just see it as those signs, as these energies moving towards spring. The goddess Bridget is one of healing. And this book is wonderful. Wheel of the Year. I'll put here by Judy Ann Knock. I always make reference to this book pretty much every Sabbath. And I want to read, I'm not going to read the whole chapter, but there's some wonderful insights in here that really helped me feel a little bit more present of where I need to be during this time of the year. I did mark it. I thought I did. Gerald, this time of the year is challenging for me as it's still so cold outside. Yeah. I'm getting antsy to do something outside. I feel, Gerald, this is all that energy. It's all that movement energy, the water energy that you have. It's the creative side. You want to start expelling this. You want to start manifesting this outwardly. You want to be outside of your house. So I totally understand that. But this time of the year with Imbolc, let me read from here. And I hope maybe I'll put some insight into this, because it is very beautiful. Fire is also representative of the goddess Bridget in her aspect of patroness of smithcraft. In the fires of the forge, physical transformation occurs. So even though we're indoors and we have this kind of light, we have all this shifting that's still going on inside. We don't necessarily have to be outside. And I understand that antsiness. You want to go out and, put that energy in an external realm, but we still need to, we're still changing. We're still shifting. I think we need to honor this time. This is just me, Gerald, and Lady Capera. I feel this is the time that we still should just not hold back that energy, but work with it in the environment of where we are right now. Even when it's outside and it's very frigid and it's unbearable to go outside, we could still work on that energy and build it up so that when the weather does get better and it's empowering more to go outside, then we can put all that energy out. I see Imbolc as the quickening of the land and animals. That's beautiful. That is totally beautiful. Let's see here. Gerald, I know you do this already, but how about doing some more candle work? I don't know if you have a fireplace in your house or a hearth. Let's work with that energy for a while, okay? And I think that fieriness, embracing that fieriness, will keep you focused on energy of keeping things kind of inside right now. And then, as I mentioned, when things get better, we can move outside. Let's see here. Okay. Another symbol of Bridget is the well. So Bridget is seen as the healer, fire energy of movement. As I mentioned, the fires of the forge, physical transformations occur. These changes are metamorphic to symbolize the strengthening of the soul. And I know that's what's going on, in spite of what's happened to me personally. That which makes us weak makes us stronger, and I totally feel that right now. So that's why I don't want to push. I don't feel I have that energy, that Ostara energy right now to go out. I still feel like things are shifting. On Imbolc, processions were made to her sacred wells, which were typically adorned with greenery at this time, signifying the imminent return of spring. Another translation of Imbolc is in the belly, referring to intrauteral fetal movement, also known as quickening. So, Lady Capera, you already know a little bit about this. You said the quickening of the land and animals. Here is the quickening. It's the movement that's going on inside the womb. The womb can also be the cauldron. And it's the feminine energy. It's not that you have to be female and this energy becomes more powerful. It's where you store that energy. Remember, our solar plexus is where all that creative energy is stored. Imbolc is characterized by the preparation for birth. So things are still forming. Soul evolution. Remember, what doesn't kill us makes us stronger. I don't see it as killing. I see it as metamorphing. So that's why when I read and hear about soul evolution, it's like that makes complete sense. Soul evolution is not a killing. It could be a shedding of all things, to make room to give birth. Like I was saying here, is characterized by the preparation for birth. So I see the satire that you have with it, Lady Capera, but for me, it's metamorphing, it's shifting, it's evolving. Let's see here. The festival of Imbolc is alternately known as Olmelg, cannot pronounce that, or Ewe's milk. The presence of lactating ewes, of great importance at this time of year. It often meant the difference between life and death to the early Celts. While Imbolc is held as the beginning of spring, the weather bears a far greater resemblance to the grip of winter. If stockpiled provisions of the Samhain harvest were not sufficient to last through the entire winter, ewe's milk was the most immediate source of fresh food and a vital element to sustaining human life. So again, we're going back to winter. What have we stored? What have we, saved up to get us through the winter months? Gerald, I know it's fuel for you. For me, it's firewood. I'm done with all the firewood. There was so much tree damage done. I was able to actually clear out my balcony where a lot of the trees have fallen, thrown the remnants down to the ground. So we're not getting any rain for a while, thank God, or any precipitation. So I'm going to let the sun dry out that the broken branches, and I'm going to turn that into kindling and bring that back in. But yeah, it's how we resource ourselves, what we bring in during this time. Here we go. I will be lighting many candles the next few days. I will be I will be blessing all my tea lights that I will use throughout the year. Yeah, this again, we're still in transition. We're not activating anything just yet. We're manifesting these steps towards the springtime, to whatever energy is guiding us in that direction. Okay. I will tell you this, before all the madness happened, the signs and omens happened to me, I had a feeling for quite some time that something was going to happen. And I was welcoming it. But I didn't know in what form. I didn't know what was going to happen. I didn't know if it was going to be great, minor. I just knew that some shift was going to happen. And it did. And it happened in succession. And that's what we learned from. So, when they say when it rains, it falls, or when it rains, it pours. Okay. So I've gone through that. Okay. And it's shifting me, how I see, view, don't take things for granted. Some of the stuff that happened was way beyond my control. Storms, power outages, something that is beyond my control. It's just the environment of where I am. And that's where I feel the change needs to happen. So we'll see where that goes. The lighting of candles was customary, signifying the growing strength of the sun and the lengthening of the days. The various regions of Ireland had equally various traditions of observance. Work was usually halted, and farmers would plow a symbolic furrow or plunge a ceremonial spade into the earth in an invocation of a bountiful harvest. So here, traditionally, we're seeing an Irish tradition where their focus is more on the harvest and what they're preparing for, what they want to put into that turn of the wheel of the year for spring, for Ostara. What do you want for that time between now and then? Hi, Ange. Thank you. I didn't even think you were able to even stay on the other live. So let me focus a little bit on Aquarius. Okay, I'm just going to talk a little bit more because I don't have too many people here, but I'm watching the chat. Aquarius. The 11th zodiac sign. Aquarius is a fixed air sign ruled by Uranus. This is where I read the sentence. I think this is a perfect description of Aquarius. Aquarius is a fixed sign ruled by Uranus. It's a modern planet, but traditionally it's ruled by Saturn. But here the author's focusing on the energy of Uranus because it represents the culmination of the soul's evolution. Okay, so Aquarius goes into March 19th. And then from March 20th, we move into the sign of Pisces, but we also go into spring. So I feel like this time of Aquarius is this time to hear the culmination of the soul's evolution. This is a time, let's start. We're not releasing anything yet, but let's start focusing clearly and putting out this energy towards what we want. Themes of air and water are prevalent as the Aquarian age is characterized by spiritual vision, originality. There's a lot of dualities here. Originality, individuality, and immortality. The sun in Aquarius meant the beginning of the spring rains. When Aquarius rises with the sun, winter has finally passed. I know weather-wise, it's not like that, especially everyone in the Northeast right now. But we're focusing more on the characteristics of Aquarius. Aquarius radiates tolerance, acceptance, and wisdom, as suggested in its connection to the crone. Okay, so I'll say that one more time. Aquarius radiates tolerance, acceptance, and wisdom, as suggested by its connection to the crone. So the crone is the wise one, person who's gone maid and mother to the final stage of crone. And when you're at that point, the tolerance, the acceptance, and the wisdom that the crone has gained needs to be respected and understood and not taken for granted. So those three words are very strong for me during this time right now. Lady Capera, if you are still with me, in Egyptian mythology, Aquarius is represented by Hapi, Hapi, the god of the Nile, who is seen as a water bearer. Hapi, I'm probably mispronouncing it. Hapi holds two overflowing vessels symbolizing the Nile of the north and the Nile of the south. Oh, okay. All right, Lady K. Hopefully you caught what I just said. In the sign of Aquarius, the soul begins the preparations for the end of its journey and ultimately for rebirth, which is one of the major themes associated with Imbolc. There are different ways that we can embrace this time of Imbolc. And I like here, from here, the Wheel of the Year, that we are happy. Thank you, Lady K. Thank you, Lady Capera. Happy, thank you. I was gonna say happy, but I didn't want to I didn't want to state it like that. But overall for Imbolc, what I really enjoy is that this is a form of transformation, as I mentioned. Moving, shape-shifting, gaining anything, any knowledge, any experience that we may have encountered from the beginning of winter to this point right now. Very important. Hello, CJ. Good evening. Thank you for joining. And just letting you know, there's no live readings. This is specifically my personal discussion on Imbolc. I also have a few cards here. I will be doing a separate reading for Imbolc in a different video. But the 6 cards that I have here are something that I want to reflect upon. And these 2 sets of cards that I have here, I did during the winter solstice. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to reflect back on these readings, because I did these readings in such a way that I can look back and talk about these particular readings that fall in line for the month of January and February. My reading that I'm going to do specifically for Imbolc will just be a few cards, since we are in a lesser Sabbat. And hi, Brianna. Thank you. I'm sorry for the technical glitch a half hour ago. But thank you for coming in. CJ, some Pisces, Aquarius rising. Happy Aquarius. Thank you for joining. So these cards here in particular, I want to focus on. Thank you, Gerald. I just saw your comment. We will be in touch, and like I mentioned, I will be doing a separate video just for a few cards to embrace Imbolc for this time of the year. So these readings that I have here, that I did during the winter solstice, I did for the months of January, February, and also for December. And what I want to reflect on are the cards that I did for January and the cards that I pulled. I shouldn't say did, but the cards I pulled for January and the cards that I pulled for this month of February. Okay, so I'm going to give some feedback on it. But I also like people to tell me how their month of January has been. And as we get ready to welcome in Imbolc on Tuesday, on the 1st. But this card here that I have in particular is focused on the guiding source for the month of January, which we're wrapping up. And so it's taking in energy of the winter solstice, Capricorn energy, but also as we start easing out of the early part of winter and we go into midwinter. This card here in particular, okay, broomstick cleaning or cleansing. This card is from The Witch's Oracle by Sally Morningstar. And it's the deck that I work with when I do all my Sabbat lives and when I do Sabbat readings. So this is the guiding card, the guiding energy for the month of January. And I will move this in closer. So I have a breakdown of this also on my website if you want to take a look and read my interpretation of it. The broomstick here for cleansing. We also see the in-between stages, the solar energy and the moon energy, and we see the individual going right in between these forms, cleaning the external solar energy and also the internal. Okay. Not literally get a broomstick and just do this, but you're using that energy, you're using that force, and that tool of the stick, what it represents. The broomstick can represent fiery energy because it's movement, but it can also represent air because it's the spiritual process that you're putting into this, and that movement of fire to cleanse, to release everything. Hi, Debbie. This is The Witch's Oracle by Sally Morningstar. I'm going to show you the book. Oh, there's that brick wall again. Oh, my God. I have not been able to fix this. So the cover of the deck is exactly like this. And this is a re-release that came out a few years ago. So I think this is the second or third printing. This printing is much different than the original. I think the original was called The Witch's Oracle, or possibly under a different name. I cannot recall. But I saw this on Kassia's Tarot Maps channel, and I fell in love with the deck. But it is Oracle. It is an Oracle deck. So CJ, Maiden, Mother, and Crone energy and Imbolc Sabbat, much healing and purging. Any remaining? Yes, CJ. And we can use this card as well. But this is the card that I pulled when I was doing the winter solstice reading for 3 months. So this will be for January. So this is the guiding energy. Okay. And it spoke very clearly to me. Now, the two cards that I picked underneath that card. Okay, so I use the Witch's Oracle as a guide for energy, as an oracle means of guidance for that particular month. So cleansing for the month of January. That fiery energy, air energy of movement, and just like cleaning from the outside in and the inside out. And then I pulled two cards from the Wildwood Tarot under the guidance of the cleansing card of the Witch's Oracle. And I got the Kingfisher. the King of Arrows. So this is an element related to air. I'm just going to briefly go through this. So what's beautiful about this card is that we see the energy of this kingfisher. The waters are still. We look at this environment. Everything is still. And the movement of this kingfisher is very direct. And actually the King of Arrows or King of Air, if you want to go to the Rider-Waite Smith, or the Doth system, this is related to the sign of Aquarius. Okay. So we're seeing the focus, we're seeing the energy on moving towards what we strongly believe in. Ideas, concepts, knowing that this is going to evolve us, this is going to shape shift us inside in the way that we see things. So there's a clear focus that's going on in here. So I'm going to cover this so you can look at the energy here. Very placid, very still, to give the space needed for this energy to move through for the Kingfisher. Okay, so I did 2 cards. The other card that I pulled, and this is from the Wildwood Tarot, is the Ace of Vessels, the waters of life. Okay, so again, this is going for the month of Capricorn, the month of January. So the waters of life, healing. Okay, so the waters have a little bit of movement, but look at the energy here. We have the beauty of the swan, we have the wisdom and knowledge of the elk, and we have the crescent moon right here. That's floating right there in the water, and we're seeing this energy, the healing aspect of the well, of the water. I could say this is also the womb. The water's recycling, and it's nourishing, it's healing. So I feel these 2 cards here, we have different forms of cleansing going on for the month of January. Okay. Clarity of the mind, focus, direction, making changes that are needed, but these are changes of perception. And then here, the healing aspect. What's needed, cleaning our emotions, our hearts. Also health-wise, letting go. And making space, emotionally making space for something new, something that will be even of more empowerment to you. Seed planting for our new, yes. Yeah. Everything right now, transitional. We're getting ready. Okay. CJ, you said seed planting for new. There are different times of the year, different times of the season that people are planting their seeds. Excuse me. During this time of the year, anything that's planted, seed-wise, for nourishment or for beauty, we probably won't start seeing it until the summer. The fall, when people start pruning, cutting back, and also placing seeds, they're also getting ready to see that blossom in the spring. So there are different seasons, different periods of the season where these times of planting the seeds become very, very strong. I love roses. Roses are year-round, and I believe you can plant them during the fall months for them to grow in the spring. And I think you can maybe also plant, no, I don't think you could do them around this time of the year because it's too late in the season. I think you can also do them, I think maybe around spring. I'm just pulling this off the top of my head. I think you could plant them in spring, but you get a different species of roses that come up during the tail end of the summer. But roses are very hardy flowers. And I love roses so much because of their energy, their spiritual energy, and what they mean. So they hold a lot of healing, beauty, strength, which I'm very grateful for. I just wish I was able to grow some roses where I am right now. Let's see here. Oh, okay. You're dictating. Thank you, Brianna Love. So yes, everything that Brianna typed in, um, that's Witch's Oracle. I love it. It's a very simple deck, and it works very well with a few decks, not all of them. Energy wise and art wise, it works very nicely. Okay, so let me go into February. Does anyone have any questions? I'm going to keep this. My energy has been shifting quite a bit, so I'm focusing on being more centered and more focused, so that from here on in, when I do my videos, they're a little bit more on the even side and not so scattered and whatnot. So my tone will probably be changing, or is changing. Soul evolution, Aquarius. Red, yellow, and peach roses we have planted in our garden. Oh my. That sounds wonderful. You have the yellow and peach, red, as we know, for love, and yellow for healing and friendship and compassion. Peach, I think, I don't know what color peach would be, because peach is like a pale, it's like a pale reddy orange or pinky orange. It's a soft flower, so soft energy I would feel for that color. For the new moon, that's right, we have our new moon coming in tomorrow. And happy lunar Chinese New Year to everyone. Year of the Tiger. So if you are celebrating that, have a wonderful lunar New Year, Year of the Tiger, if that is your year. Okay, so let me go into February. So February, I did the same thing. I pulled one card from the Witch's Oracle and then two cards from the Wildwood Tarot. And thank you for Brianna mentioning this is the Wildwood Tarot. So for February, during the month of Aquarius, when I did this reading, these are the cards. I'm just reflecting back. These are the cards I pulled during the winter solstice. Okay, so this is for February. So we have insight. This has been an interesting transition because for January, we had cleansing, inside and out, spiritual cleansing, external cleansing. Cleansing is making space. It's letting go, making that energy. And that's during the time of Capricorn. That can be hard for Capricorn because they're ruled by Saturn. So their way of approaching cleansing can be good because it'll create the structure that Capricorn really loves to have in their lives, and create a different kind of space that will help them work more towards where they need to be, what they need to bring more into their life. But here, the insight, the crystal ball. Okay, look at this closely. Ignore the brick wall. Okay, we have knowledge. So for here with Aquarius is ruled by the major arcana archetype of the star. So this is the star, associated with healing, changing of ourselves, the way that we feel and see things, also how we interact with people. It is the healer. And so that star card in lieu of Imbolc is really important because it holds all that kind of energy. And it's something that is really important to really hold and be serious about. If any of you have a serious spiritual practice includes witchcraft, the occult. Some people don't like to have that word spiritual attached to those forms of practice, but it is a spiritual practice because those are the forces that you're working with, whether you're invoking them or evoking them, or it's energy that you're working with in yourself. Energy is spirit, and that comes in all shapes and forms, and it's in each and every one of us. So we have the insight of the crystal ball, seeing things, seeing how things are right now, and what can we do to make different, to make change. Another thing too is Aquarius. I'm a traditionalist. I'm a traditionalist in the way that I read, in the way that I interpret my readings, and also the decks and the tools that I work with. Aquarius is not a traditional inspired sign. They're all about progression. I probably would say Aquarius could be more of the contemporary of all signs, modern, thinking ahead. They're aware of the past, but the past for an Aquarius is just that. It's in the past. They want to move on. They want to grow from that kind of energy. Take in that influence, traditional influences, but molding it into their own way. That's what Aquarius does. Okay, that's the insight. What can we do different? I can still hold my traditional values, but it's how I use them during this time. We're living in a contemporary time, a modern time where things are always changing. And values are just, I don't know where they are anymore. But it's how to work with those energies and not give away so much of your own beliefs and values. So I'm very traditional. If you're a modernist and you live right here in the now, not that I don't live in the now, but you're all about advancement, that's totally fine. That's your perspective. That's how you see things. That's how you work. I think each of us were all at a point in our lives, we were at a place where we were just like, technology was new. I'm older than, I would say, probably quite a few of people who are watching this. So back in the day, when you hear people say back in the day was modern. Every generation will always go back and say, hey, back in the day when we had this, now this is what's going on. Whatever's modern now is going to be old. It's going to be traditional. Things are evolving. Okay, so let me go with the card that I pulled, or the cards I pulled with the Wildwood Tarot. This isn't intentional, or accidental. This is how the card came up. I have the Ancestor card. This card is related to the Hierophant, the High Priest, but it came reversed. Okay. And so this was very interesting to have that card come up, especially for the month of February, because what was I just talking about? The Hierophant is pretty much, or the ancestor. This is someone who has strong tradition, very powerful in the messages that they have to say, share, and what needs to be listened. But it came reversed. So it's not a means of saying that not to listen to tradition, not to close your eyes and your in your ears to that. That's very important. But when I got this ancestor card, this isn't for me. This is for me, but as well as for everyone. It's a recognition of how things are changing. Okay. And I feel with this ancestor card reversed, it's maybe a way of changing, the way that we've normally done things, the way that we see things. This year, I feel overall, thank you, CJ. This year overall, 2022, lots of changes. Lots and lots of changes. We had changes, obviously, 2 years ago with the pandemic. When you have a global shift, a global shakening of that level, we're going to be seeing changes in attitudes, values, technology, how we deal with things. Things in a way sort of feel like they had to move back, like we retrograded when we should have been moving forward. But sometimes to move forward, we have to retrograde. We do have to go back. Amy, did I hear you speak in a past video? No, I do not use a crystal ball. I do not. I don't do any form of scrying. Even though I'm traditional, I'm very simplistic with how I approach my craft and how I work with it. I work with tools that I feel very strongly about, and they're very simple. So sometimes, don't feel that you have to get a broom, a besom. Don't feel that you have to have a crystal ball. People scry in different ways. Sometimes they use a cauldron. They fill it up with water. You could scry. You could do moon magic. What you do with that cauldron, I'm sidetracking here, but I'm not forgetting. That cauldron, if it's big enough, I have the small one here, and it can work. You fill it up with water, and during the full moon, if you want to work with that full moon energy, once it's opened, once the lid's open, try and catch the reflection of the full moon in the cauldron or in whatever vessel you're holding, and utilize the energy of that full moon, the sign that it's in, what day of the week it is. Hi, Calla Lily. Thank you for joining. And put your intention, or put in your gracious thank yous to the full moon for anything that may have developed between the waning and waxing stages. So you can do that with a vessel as long as you can fill up with water. Make sure it's dark. I think if you use a clear glass, you could still, like a glass bowl, I think you could still catch the moon energy, or catch the reflection of the moon into it. But I haven't done it with this. So any tool that you work with, people work with crystals. I'm not a heavy crystal user. I feel that if you have enough force coming in within you, you can work with the tools that you have to harness or repel anything that you need that will help you place you in your direction. I need to digress. So ancestor. Okay. So working with traditional ways of doing things. Okay. But changing them around so that you don't, in a way, get stuck in the pattern. It's fine to be a traditionalist, but I feel too you need to also move and grow on, and not, as you hear sometimes, not get stuck in the old ways of doing things. There's some things that are just part of who you are, and you can't really change that of a person. So if someone says, "Oh, that's so old school," I'd say, "Thank you, because that makes it unique to who you are." And I feel as time goes on, I will be expressing more of the importance of traditional values. My major arcana archetype for my birth card is the high priest or the hierophant. So I relate to the traditional aspect that if I feel someone who has been very influential and they have a message to share, and they may be older or whatnot, listen to them. They're much older than you. They know much more than you. Listen. Last week we lost Thich Nhat Hanh, the peace activist from Vietnam, who connected with Martin Luther King, another peaceful activist from the 60s. They met at common ground. He passed away. Thich passed away last Saturday. So if you go on YouTube and you type in Thich Nhat Hanh, for the entire week from the day of his passing of last Saturday, which was 1/2/2022, to now, they've been doing celebrations. And it's been wonderful. He was cremated yesterday, and so now his ashes are going to be spread throughout different centers that follow Thich's wisdom. So that's an example of, ancestors. Many generations have grown through Thich's practices. I'm not a Buddhist, but I hold respect for it. I've gone to Buddhist teachings. I've done a few Buddhist meditation. Doesn't quite resonate with me, but I hold respect for it. And I can embrace some of the beliefs of that into my practice. Brianne, yes, simplicity for me works too. And I have just like a few crystals here. I think they're going to fall. Tiger's Eye. This one I've been holding today. This is bloodstone, which is actually green. And I don't know how well you could see it. There's flecks. You can't see it very well. There's flecks of red in it. And this is very good. I was reading more about the stone. It's good for headaches, which I've had a little bit today. So I've been holding it, and it seems to relieve pressure. And then I have carnelian, as you could see there. And for those of you who are joining, this is my setup for Imbolc on Tuesday, which will be my own personal practice. And then here I have amethyst. I have two different kinds of amethyst. And these are the ones that I keep here nearby. And these will be charged during Imbolc. And also the new moon, even though it's going to be dark, you could still use the energy of the new moon to bring in energy into certain tools that you have. Calla lily, it's the foundation you built. Yes. We all have different approaches as to how we work with our belief system. Wisdom, yes, so important to try to get away from our own ego and listen. Yes. Watching Ty's memorial, many people repeat it: breathe in Ty, breathe out Ty, or breathe in love, or breathe in tears, breathe out, happiness. And it was just good to see those mantras from various people in the chat sharing their experience. And it was very healing to watch this whole the whole process. Calla Lily. Imbolc is actually on Tuesday, February 1st, but you can celebrate it on the 31st. 31st, the 1st, and then the 2nd. It's similar to like Samhain. We have the 31st, and then there's the 1st and the 2nd, because Samhain is All Hallows Eve. So November 1st is like Day of the Dead, Dia de los Muertos celebrations. So this goes on for a few days. For some people, it's a week. November 6th is sometimes considered the day to celebrate Samhain. I think there is. I was reading online. The dates are different. There's like the traditional dates of some of these celebrations, and then there's the dates that historically are known. Yes, Tuesday the 1st is Imbolc. But you can prep the day before. I'm just doing this now because I'm switching my schedule. So when a Sabbat falls on a weekday, I have to do it the weekend before, unless I'm free and I can do a live like this the day before the actual Sabbat. The 1st is a special day for me. Do you want to share why it's special? And while you're doing that, I need to I need to get through this, or I'm going to forget the card. Let me read one more comment here. Amy, I was just wondering why you don't have your fireplace going in the background. It looks so beautiful. Laziness. Just today, I was thinking about doing it, but I'll probably do it on the 1st. On the Sabbats, like on Tuesday, I would probably take the day off. I'm grateful that I'm self-employed, so I can flip my days around when it comes to when to work, and I just have to make it up in another day. So Tuesday, I will probably take off to focus on that energy. And then we have Ostara on March 20th. I think that falls on a weekday as well. Maybe it's a Friday or Saturday. I don't have my calendar here, but I think it's on one of those days. Your birthday. Happy birthday, Aquarius. And on Imbolc. So definitely embrace those energies of Aquarius. The soul evolutionary. I love that phrase that came out from this book. If you miss, you're going to have to scroll back. I was reading excerpts from The Wheel of the Year by Judy Ann Nock, focusing on Imbolc, some of the traditions, and also the influence of Aquarius. And she wrote here as Aquarius being the soul evolutionary. And it's just like that sums up Aquarius perfectly. I have no Aquarius in me, but there are aspects of Aquarius where it comes for transformation and, working in a group environment, finding like-minded people who think differently, that I find very appealing. I just don't have those astrological characteristics in my chart. But, you embrace it. Whatever sign that you have missing or signs you have missing in your chart, this is something that many of you can work on. Embrace it. Learn about it. Some people are like, oh, I don't understand this sign. It's always challenging or whatnot. Look into it. Understand it. Learn the characteristics. Once you learn it, you may find some similarities that you can bring into your own self, into your work environment, or anything like that. So let's see. You'll go back? Oh, okay, to watch. Yeah, it's probably about 40 minutes in, 30 or 40 minutes in. If you see me holding the book, that's where I'm talking about it. But here, you know what, since you just came in, there are three things that also stood out for me, and I repeated it twice when I was discussing this. I'm going to repeat it here since I'll start wrapping this up in about 15 minutes or so. Aquarius radiates tolerance, acceptance, and wisdom as suggested by its connection to the crone. Okay, it's not saying that Aquarius is the crone, but these are key characteristics that shapes the crone. And I can understand the connection that the author makes to the crone because we are heading towards the tail end of the triple goddess. The crone is the last part, maiden, mother, crone. So the crone is wrapping up this time. And then when we go into spring, we start with the maiden. And that's when we have that fresh new energy. You know, everything starts, we start seeing leaves and sprouts starting to come out of things that we've planted. We're starting to see signs of the work that we put into things, you know, preparation. So again, we're in this transitional state right now. Okay, let me get through February. So ancestor, okay. The next card that I got for the month of February from the Wildwood Tarot. Okay, we're focusing on this energy of insight. I got the Archer. I think this is a perfect representation for this card to embrace the month of February. You know, what changes do you want to see within yourself? And as these changes are happening, how can you be of influence to other people? Not that that's intentional, that you want to make changes just to show off to people, look, I changed. This is coming from a place of good intention. It's coming from a place that you need to make these changes, okay? Need, not have to. You need to make these changes. If you don't change, you don't grow, you don't evolve. Remember what I was saying here about the ancestor, okay? Working with what knowledge you have. You could still hold to your own perspectives and whatnot, but what can you do differently? Okay, so you take that ancestor card, shape shift within yourself. And then look at this. You take that energy, that perception. Remember tolerance, wisdom, take all of that and put it to work. Direct it to where it needs to be. Okay. Rider-Waite-Smith wise, astrologically wise, this card is assigned as a chariot, but we don't have this chariot energy. The chariot now in this card has been transformed into the bow and the arch. And this person is actually taking charge, usually with the chariot card. Hi, Joey. How are you? Good morning. The chariot card, we see different depictions of it. We see an individual who's loosely holding the reins or not holding the reins, or the two creatures, the two opposing energies that we see, black, white, are either still or they're running loose. Look at the energy here. We're seeing action taking place, so we're actually seeing things in motion. Remember February, Aquarius, Imbolc, what are we doing? We're transitioning, we're preparing. This is preparation. In this case, this person's jumping ahead and taking action. But in the same way, I wouldn't take, me personally, I wouldn't take action yet, but I would start taking the stance and maintain the focus, because now those two energies that we see with the Chariot, that's usually in front, that needs to be guided. Look what's happening here. These creatures are now behind the archer. They are supporting this individual because they see that this person is now taking control and taking charge of what's needed. Very important. So this energy from those stationary animals or wild, loose animals is now standing behind this individual. They believe in this person because there's the loyalty. These look like hounds, wolfhounds. The loyalty of these canines in this card in particular is there. And they're like, we back you up because you are dedicated. You have that willpower. You have that direction. I say this to myself as well with these readings. So that's for the month of February. Insight. Okay, let's start looking inside. We don't have to physically get a crystal ball. We have the crystal ball within ourselves. The crystal ball is that light, that glowing orb, or is that orb that needs to be activated. Okay. Changing our perception. You know, working with values, but putting them in a different way, in a way that betters ourselves. And we also have the Crescent Moon here. And it's in the stillness of winter too. I'll turn it upright so you could see. Working with the energy of winter. Transitional. Okay, remember, keep in mind transition during this time of Imbolc. And then this power card. This is a beautiful card. I agree, Brianne. Ah, okay. CJ, happy early birthday on Pisces. Wonderful. How do you feel about that? Yeah, it says embracing entering my crone. I think I'm older than you, but I feel we're still in our mother age. There are different time frames, and I don't really like to put a time frame that, maidens are 20s, 30s, mothers are 30s, 40s, crones are 50s, 60s. It's, we're all learning, we're gaining knowledge. And so I don't like time stamping or age stamping any of those goddess phases that we all go through. Brianna, it's such a beautiful card to me. It shows courage and strength, reminds me of my Aquarius daughter. She's so caring but never shows off, just truly dedicated. That's beautiful. I mean, Aquariuses, I think I only know a few handful, maybe not even a handful, come to think about it. They are very humble. They're no flash or anything like that. They're a fixed sign. So I think that keeps things a little bit more keeps things a little bit more internal. I'm a fixed sign, and so I see some aspects of where I could be set in my ways, but also a little bit more not lavish, but being more mindful of my actions and what I say. Sometimes I just blurt things out and that happens. But it's the fixity is that dedication and that devotion to your beliefs, your actions, so on and so forth. Yes, the stillness of winter, definitely. I'm a crone in life. I'm younger as a tarot reader. So you're like maiden tarot reader. Are you new to reading tarot, Kala Lily? But we learn, if if you're new to tarot and you're in your 60s or 70s, I feel you have the upper advantage because you already have the wisdom of life. You have the wisdom of, adventure, exploring, relationships, work, hardships, downships, upships, you know, um, all this that we earn this. Everyone, we earn this. There's a reason why we have this. It is DNA, but this is something that, it is what it is. I'm not going to fight it. I'm not going to color my white, even though I need to get my roots done. But for the most part, this is who we are. But let me start winding this down. So Imbolc, healing, changing, transforming. No action yet, okay? Because I'm honoring the time of the season that we're in. We're midwinter right now. And then we go into spring, as I mentioned, March 20th. So there's a lot, like Gerald was saying, Gerald and Lady Capera Ankh earlier, they were saying, they're feeling cabin fever. They want to go out and do things. And that's wonderful that energy is starting to rev up. But I wouldn't release it just yet until the time of Ostara. And even still, when Ostara takes place, Ostara being the spring equinox, we're still coming out of this transition of winter, So let's say you were in cold temps and then the week of Ostara, spring just warms up. You're like, yes! Don't let out all that energy at once. We have spring and then we also have summer to go through. So don't throw everything out so early. I feel it's important to move with the energy of the seasons. That's why I do these Sabbat lives, to show the transition of how we're feeling, where we are right now. Let's ease in and out of these seasons the best way possible. Brianne, lots of sevens for my Anne, born February 7th, 1979, at 6 pounds, 7 ounces. 7 is a spiritual number, too. 7 is a number of like almost understanding. It's a number that goes beyond the foundation and the actions of numerology. I'm an 8, so 8 deals a lot with, I think, the material realm, more on the success side of things. I have some other numbers that kind of fall into conflict with that. But 7 is a strong number spiritually. Let's see, Calla Lily. I'm new just the past couple of years. I've studied astrology for a long time. My wrinkles and gray hair were earned, yes. And some people get this earlier in life and they don't like it. But, what can you do? This is the thing, too. As you get older, you tend to, I don't want to say you care less, but you appreciate what you have. And you work with it. We may not like where silver's coming in or where our character lines, wrinkles, whatever, how they're falling, how our skin tone is changing. We may not like it, but that's what it is. And so, if people don't like it, they just don't, and they move on. People who will understand and appreciate it will connect and ask questions and want to understand the the experience that someone's going through. The time changes, that's correct. Thank you, Debbie 777. We have our time change, so we're going to lose an hour on March 13th. I can't wait. That's the day I come out of hibernation. I actually do not like the time changes at all. California voted 2018. The state of California voted against changing the time, but it has to go through. I was just reading this. That's why I'm mentioning this. But it still has to go through federal voting and stuff like that. And we thought that we were going to get the time change, but it's not happening, and we probably will not happen for another few years. So I don't know why the delay. I like it to stay that when we move our clocks back in November, that stays that way. But I think there's always politics, there's economics involved with the changing of the time. And also, I believe President Bush 15 years ago changed the date of when we lose that hour. And that was done for environmental and ecological reasons. I think it was to save money, or I don't know, something like that. But I remember that was changed over a decade ago, the date itself. Let's see here. Kala Lily, you studied astrology. That's wonderful. I merge astrology with my practice, with my tarot practice. I thought about becoming an astrologer, but I've mentioned this in the past. I can't make that dedication because astrology is so, I decided this within the last year, astrology is so involved. It's not something that you take a course in, you just kind of build upon it, build your experience upon it. There are layers upon layers upon layers of astrology. And so I commend all of those who are astrologers, Vedic and Western, those who are exploring it and they love it. I love astrology because it activates this part of my brain and gets me thinking. But what happens is it activates it too much because it also gets the spiritual side of me wanting to know more about the specifics. And then I get all these ideas and whatnot. And next thing you know, I'm not doing my tarot because I'm getting so involved in that. And tarot came first to me. And the astrology, the interest in the decans, which I have videos of in my playlist, just started about almost 2 years ago. It'll be 2 years this summer when I came across a deck that Unified Esoteric Tarot by Attila Blaga Karpathy, where it incorporated Kabbalah, the decans, not the 7 traditional planets, but the 10 traditional planets, the Tree of Life. It's like, this is a wonderful deck. It's not visual like this. It's more like there's a lot of symbology. There's also alchemy in it. And it's something that I use it as a tool. If you look back in my videos, you'll see more about it. My decan readings. So right now we are actually in the second decan of Aquarius. And so the Doth Tarot works with decans. The Tarot of the Holy Light, which myself and Julianne Victoria have been working with for 14 months, involves decans, but it goes with a different direction of decan work with the tarot. So I decided that I just can't put myself that involved in astrology. I'm either going to do it entirely and drop the tarot, or I'm going to merge in influences of astrology with the tarot. And that's what I'm going to do. And I have a deck that incorporates aspects, which I don't do too much of, but it has houses. I work with houses, planets, and signs. I feel those 3 elements. I can work with the tarot and I can bring them in easily. So, because if I start going to transits and aspects and triangles and all this in a reading, it's going to overwhelm me. And so I just use those elements. Um, let me see here. Okay, let me back up a little bit. Sorry. I'm so tempted to start my seeds now, but I have to wait. Yes, just work with the seasonal energies, everyone. So what Calla Lily stated. Cheers, Amy. Time for my drink. Um, I was hydrating quite a bit, so that's why you don't see me drinking water so much. Okay, I'm gonna wrap this up. I'm gonna finish going through the comments. It's about 6:45 here on the West Coast. Do you need energy, Amy? I will do pranic on you if you want. Joey, I'll take it. My energy is quite a bit better from probably the last time you saw me do my lives. I was doing live readings for about 3 hours, and I wasn't, my throat and my energy was pretty much well shot. Calla Lily. No, I do actually care less. Yeah, it's just it doesn't matter. I think at a certain point in your age, you feel like you've not that you've gotten to where you need to be, but just your perception on things, it just isn't, it's not worth fighting. It's not worth yelling about, getting angry. And that's hard to maintain because, we're still living in a mundane world where we have to deal with so many external energies around us, and it can shake us or challenge us. But we work with that energy. But it's not, for people who get still aggravated, that's stuff that is energy that they need to work on because it's the connection of the ego. Joey, we had a major vote here today in Portugal. Oh, okay. You said it is what it is, so I'm guessing it is not good. I can look online and see what's going on. So I don't know if it was for the better. It doesn't sound like it based on your comment. Let's see. It's like a bottomless pit. I could be a fluctuant astrologer. No, I don't know. I've worked Calla Lily. I've worked it for years, but right now I am actually, I am really drawn to tarot. Thank you, Brianna. Yes, I'm feeling much better. My energy's good. I just don't want to push it. Remember, don't want to when you're coming out of illness and you're just like, you're not feeling quite 100%. You're feeling more like 80%, and you go out and you give like 120%, and you fall back to 50 or 40%. It's like, why did I do that? So I'm honoring the energy that I have. Let's see. Yeah, we have to clear that. It will be gone by the morning, angels. Okay. Thank you. That Queen of Wands. Remember I made that comment, Joey? The Queen of Wands energy. Yeah, I agree, Brianne. Yeah, it's just, at some point it really isn't. And so, we move away from those forces that just seem to deplete us. Whether it comes to us, whether we attract it, or, it's placed upon us. Like, okay, you give what you can, but you don't want to give too much of yourself. There are times that I'll do 120% of myself, but it's only something that I really feel strongly about. And if I have that energy and drive to do it, I will go beyond. But being an earth sign, I kind of know, I need to keep that stability going. I need soup. My throat, yes. I am going to have soup. So thank you, Calla Lily, for deciding what my dinner will be. I will do soup. And I'm going to have to get some food in the next few days. I mean, I have food, and I'll need to restock. I haven't done soup in a few days, so that's good. I know it will be gone tomorrow. Thank you. I'm going to do soup. I have some chicken miso soup with some bread, to dunk into it. Sounds good. I wanted to mention really quickly Calla Lily. It's interesting. I think my interest in working with astrology came at a point to where I felt like you can go so far you can with the tarot, like with the Rider-Waite-Smith deck, influence decks. I went as far as I could with those, and then it's only been within the last few years that I've moved away from. I don't even have a Doth deck anymore. I passed that down to someone else, but I have I have one deck. Don't worry, I'm almost done, everyone. I have the Gilded Tarot, which I've been using in the Tarot Gratitude Challenge, which has Doth influence. Imagery-wise, it has quite a bit of influence in it. From the lettering to a little bit of the images, you could see some influence from it. But I was looking for a deck that was different from the Doth, and the Gilded Tarot is that deck because it does take into effect a little bit of the wording of the Doth and some of the imagery, but also the Gilded deck I want to get is because it works with the Tree of Life, and that's the next thing that I want to explore. So with the tarot, what I was starting to say is I like to work now with non-system decks that may have some influence of Rider-Waite-Smith, but not quite. And there's quite a few decks that are out there, like the Dreams of Gaia is a deck that I work with. People know that I've been talking a lot about not people, but on my channel, I've been working with the Barbara Walker Tarot. A really wonderful deck. This is one of the cards. This is actually the card for the decan of Aquarius, the Six of Swords. So for those who have the birthday this week, this is our card. Our card being for Aquarius, but also everyone else. Passage. You know that Six of Swords cards where you see someone who is behind the person who may have gone through a hard time. You have that guide, that Six of Swords. And again, that's a wonderful card. Passage for Imbolc, transition. Moving from one state into another. Very important. Let's see. I love that Guild deck, but I spoke too soon about the book. They sent a brand new deck from England. I'm still looking for the hard copy book because what I've been seeing is, last I saw, that it's running for quite a few $100s. So I downloaded the PDF, and I still want the book. And someone made a comment when I was talking about the Gilded Tarot that they actually got the book. I don't know where, and I asked them. I asked them where they got it, but the person never replied back. They said that they only got it, they got for like $50. And I was like, I'll pay $50 for that. So if anyone sees the book, the Gilded Tarot book, because the creator, Elizabeth Josephine Gill, I have no idea where she is. I contacted US Games, who produces this deck, if they can give me an answer, if she's still alive or where she is. I don't know. You type online Elizabeth Josephine Gill, you will not find a biography about her. You will just see her deck. So this becomes more of a deck of mystery for me because no one knows where this person is. And this deck was created a while ago. I think it was created in the originally. I see the copyright here. I think originally it was created. Oh, it must be in the little book. I think it was created like in the 80s or early 90s. So I hope if anyone knows where Elizabeth Josephine Gill is, please let me know. I need time over a pan of water. I have basil. I know it's not the same, but put a little bit of herbs. I don't want to put too much. But whenever I eat soup, it's hearty soup. I feel so good. So I'll start making my way towards that. I'll end up with the PDF too. Oh, you did? Oh, so Calla Lily, it was you. Let's see here. Okay, yeah, Joey, totally fine. The Gill is not for me, but Katie Flowers was so passionate about it that I took a look. Yeah, I don't think it was through Katie that I saw the deck. I did see her love for it, and that's wonderful. It's fascinating, when you find these decks and they work with you in a pleasant, unexpected way. But my family of tarot decks that I have, I'm very happy with. I may release one or two of these decks, and I'm not a collector, so you won't see videos of me talking about the latest deck that I got. If anything, I think Jennifer Ball's Witch House, Jennifer's Witch House. I think she mentioned that she's going to start doing a little bit more videos on some older decks, which I thought was perfect. So I'll probably start doing this because I have some decks that are older. Some people know, some people don't. So, and I was keeping that in the back of my mind not too long ago about having another talk about traditional values when it comes to my practice. So I did do a discussion about traditional beliefs, but you have to look in my channel and do a search. I did it like maybe 2 years ago. Let's see here. Where is spirit? Spirit is ooh, there he is. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to scare you, spirit. That's taking a nap. For anxiety, I open my essential oil, the sage. Yeah. Yep. I was taking some hot baths. Well, I took 2 hot baths. I don't like to take too many hot baths when I'm coming out of an illness, because I don't want to drain my body. But I have a bath where the salts are Epsom salt, it's sandalwood, clove, and lang lang. Oh, nothing can top that. That makes it soothes me. I feel good. I fall asleep sometimes. I gotta be careful. Not fall asleep, but I start falling asleep. So I used to take a lot of baths, but now not so much. Oh, okay. Yep, it was me who talked about this. I sent you an answer, but I may have done it wrong. So Calla Lily, did you have the book? Did you have the book, or do you have the book for the Gilded Tarot? Because I think I mentioned I have the PDF. But if you have the book, the real deal, let me know. You can leave information in the comments. My cat is named Mucha, like a lot. Joey? Mucha. I like that name, Mucha. Yeah. The smell of, certain oils. I don't like sage. I don't like Nag Champa. Nag Champa is that one incense that I could smell it a block away because I was practicing at a yoga studio for many, 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 many years. And that was one of the things that was burned. And I just, Nag Champa is basically sandalwood And I think it's mixed in with something else. It's not that I'm going to leave the room if someone's burning it, but it'll just be like, oh, okay, now champa. Yeah. What is the back of the Gilded Tarot cards look like? Debbie, are you talking about the Gilded Tarot by Ciro Marchetti? Let me know, because if so, I'll run and get it, and then I'm going to wrap it up so I could wind down this video. So let me know if that's the deck that you're talking about. I've retired that deck. I'm not going to get rid of it because it was my second deck that I had when I started building my tarot practice. So I won't give up my first few decks. The Rider-Waite-Smith was my first deck, and the Gilded Tarot was my second. And both of those decks came at very important times of my life. So, and they hold a lot of energy. So those, even though I won't be working with them, they're going to still stay with me. No, they sent me a new, oh, I see. We are discussing their advertising a book and sending a deck. Oh, I see. I see what happened. Okay. Wow. Yeah, you got to be careful. I don't know who you went through that. Yeah, because the book that I'm seeing online, like on eBay, is like $500. There's one. It's all wrapped. It's all sealed. It's the original. They showed it on a stand. I don't know, $500. And that's what happens when creators disappear and they stop producing. I think this is the only deck. Everything goes up. This is mass produced. This is a different version. I think there's an original version of this deck design-wise. I like the size of it. It's almost like this, a little bit bigger than my Dreams of Gaia, the pint-sized deck. But I like it. It's not too big, not too small. It's a nice size. You don't know the Gilded Tarot. Okay. The backs of the Gilded Tarot. Oh. Honestly, I've looked to see what this brick wall thing is. I can't get rid of it. I can't. I went in my settings. I just cannot get rid of it. So there's no brick wall behind this. It's a tree. Okay, so basically where the wall is, it's a tree. And then we have a few of the sephiras and some of the paths connecting to this tree. Let me see if it shows. There we go. Well, it doesn't quite look like this, but yeah, the back is, maybe if I go for, nope, still shows it. Yeah, there's like the root of the tree, and then the tree is green and it has branches coming out. Let me see if there's another. No, it's the same. And then there's a layout card. Oh, this is just hilarious. Alrighty. Let's see here. Oh, Muka. Yes. Wow. I wonder if your cat is a brindle. Is a brindle colored cat, Joey. Brindle being like black but has like orange and yellow coloring. Those are brindle cats. Dark with a whole bunch of different warm colors mixed into it. Those are beautiful. Let's see. That one. Well, I hope you like the deck, Calla Lily, because it is a really wonderful deck. It looks kind of primary because you have the large words and the large numbers, but when you have the deck, when you see the deck, I like it because it's very straightforward. I wasn't a fan of keywords on tarot decks, but I actually am enjoying working with some of these decks that have these keywords. They don't distract. You know, I see the keyword, and even though I may read something differently, I can choose to incorporate that keyword into the reading or not. So some people are like, oh, the keywords are just too big or whatnot. I know, the bricks. That's like going into another dimension. I know. I have no idea. I really don't. I really don't. And it shows up every time I go on StreamYard. Um, yeah, it's kind of bizarre, but um, the decks that I'm working with right now the most is that Barbara Walker tarot deck, and I don't know. It's funny. Once the BW tarot came on, the the Wildwood tarot, which I was working with from the summer all the way down into our winter months, got pushed to the side, and my winter decks are now the Barbara Walker and the Gilded Tarot, especially the Barbara Walker. Okay. Um, she is an Empress archetype. Okay. I'd love to see a photo of her. Or the next time you do a live, Joey, maybe hold her up. I'd love to see her. I love all animals. I just tend to lean more with cats. um, yeah, it's all different, right? Calla Lily, it's just, it's how you perceive things. If you get a bunch of people to say that they don't like a certain things, other people will start jumping in and say, hey, I don't like that either. But if you get people saying that, hey, this is really good, I really like this, it's a soft sell in a sense, but it's also opinion. And it, it kind of reminds me, I did say I was going to stop about 15 minutes ago, didn't I? It's like the Wild Unknown tarot. I like the Wild Unknown Animal Spirit Oracle deck because I like to work with animal energies. But I didn't like the Wild Unknown Tarot deck. And I think it was because everyone was talking about it and I saw it so much. The more I saw it, the more I didn't like it. It didn't seem so special to me. I'm happy it's special for other people, but it didn't seem like it. But now I saw the smaller tin version of it, and it's like I'm starting to get a second guess about it. I probably won't get it, but for some reason I like the smaller size edition, the way it looks. Um, go figure. Do I have the big book that goes with the Barbara? Oh, yeah. I most certainly do. I most certainly do. When I got the deck and I found out that there was the book, the Gilded Tarot I got before the Barbara Walker. So when I saw the Gilded Tarot and that there was a book, I heard there was a book. I started looking and I saw those outrageous prices. I'm like, well, maybe U.S. Games will decide to re-release, and let's leave it at that. Maybe they will decide to re-release, but I think there has to be a big enough demand for that deck to have that book released. This I got on eBay, and I put an offer for it, and it's in pretty good condition. It's bent, but it has so much history, not about the deck itself, but the history of tarot. History's mysteries. And I like it because it just goes into like maybe 2, maybe 3 pages of some of the cards, or all of the cards. It's a color plate that shows the minor arcana, not the major arcana. and it talks about the symbolisms and the origins of tarot from her perspective. It's a wonderful book. It's not too thick, which is my size. I don't like heavy, thick books that are like 500 pages to discuss certain things of the tarot. If it's written well and it gets to the point of things for me, then for me that's a book that I can work with. Okay, good night, Brianne. Thank you so much for keeping me company, me and Spirit Company. I look forward to seeing you again soon virtually. But thank you for staying here on the chat. I will end, and also my computer, because I took it off power, is starting to drop. Yeah, the wild unknown archetypes, they're beautiful. And one thing that I like with decks, for me personally, is that there's not so much a heavy representation on humans. Anything with animals, anything symbolic, creatures or gods, goddesses in that sense. I know those are humans, but if they're illustrated and depicted in such a way where there's not so much of a reminder of an ex of yours or of a family relative or anything like that, I like those decks because you can focus on the environment and the message that's being conveyed in those cards. Those are decks that I enjoy. All righty. Okay. Yes. So everyone, we're signing off together at the same time. Have a good morning. Have a good night. I will have some soup. I'm going to start it up here in a moment. Thank you for keeping me company. Remember Imbolc on Tuesday, February 1st. It's a time of healing, using light to have us move through this transition from our midwinter season to spring. Easy with the energy. Don't go out all at once. Okay? So be kind to yourself because we're still in winter. We still have that crone energy with us. So hold respect to that. And remember what I was saying here in the book about tolerance and wisdom that comes from the crone with the influence of the sign of Aquarius, which is the evolutionary soul. Yes, it is a cool looking book. And you can find it on eBay. So if you can get the book, go ahead and do so. All right, everyone. Have a wonderful night, morning, Imbolc week, Aquarian week. Happy birthday, everyone. Calla Lily, and everyone sleep well. I will see you soon, and thank you so much for the support. I will put up a reading for Imbolc probably on Tuesday, but it will be recorded. Just a few cards to welcome in that day. Okay. Have a wonderful night.